Welcome to the Undrafted Hockey Fan Podcast. I'm Brad. Today we're going over a tier list of all the players that are going through, that we're going through a tier list basically. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, you can listen to on Spotify, you can listen to on YouTube Music, Amazon Music, or if you're watching on YouTube, most people are at this point. Welcome. So you'll be able to see the video. If you want to check out the video, you can check it out on YouTube. Is an Undrafted Hockey Fan. And so we are sponsored today by the BetterHelp and DraftKings. So we'll get back to those later. And the Hockey Podcast Network. And so today we are going to go through alphabetically all the teams on what their position is this year. Now, there's 5 tiers, again, if you can see on video. If not, for audio listeners, you have the Stanley Cup contenders category, the playoff contender category, the wild card category, the WTF category. So what are you doing in the middle of this? What are you doing at this point? And then the rebuilding category. So we are going to be starting off with the Anaheim Ducks. And we, of course, they're rebuilding. Let's be honest. So basically they're still focused so much on rebuilding. They made a couple trades, moved out a couple of guys. They did make a good trade last year, picking up Cutter Gauthier for Jamie Drysdale on a second-round pick. They moved out Ilya Labushkin as well. Let's see, they traded Adam Henrique as well. They traded Sam Carrick as well. Oh yeah, so that's the Sam Carrick. So they traded the Adam Henrique to the Lightning, and it also got the Oilers sent back the first round pick and the 5th round pick. They got Ben Myers, I guess. They're just basically just a young team looking to just make moves. So right now they picked up Brian Dumoulin they didn't really do anything. They didn't have any big signings. There was supposedly they did try and go for Steven Stamkos and Marshall, but of course Nashville picked him out there. But basically they're just focusing on the young guys right now. They signed Beckett Seneca. They picked their first round pick in the 2024 draft, Stein Solberg. But these guys are all just AHL guys. They're going to be playing the AHL or their junior team, basically in the AHL. Maybe even Cutter, he might break out to make the team, but basically they didn't do much. They have Brian Dumoulin, again, from the Seattle Kraken. They also picked up Robbie Fabry and a 4th round pick from the Red Wings. That was basically a cap dump. So really, there's just not a ton that they did, which is fine. Which is okay because you're still waiting for some of these guys to mature. I don't know if Zegras is the guy that you guys are hoping for, but I think he's a good player. He's just not. The GM Pat. I can't think GM Pat. I can't think of his name. It's like Vander or something like that. I can't think of his name. Anyways, your GM is more like guys that are two-way players. He did come from the Yzerman system, so that kind of makes sense. And we know Zegras doesn't play that way, but so he may. Honestly, I think he actually might be traded. He signed a 3-year contract. If he was there for the long term, he maybe have signed a little longer, but and that would have made more sense. But either way, Anaheim, you're rebuilding, buddy. So then on to the next team, the Boston Bruins. Now, the Boston Bruins are just frustrating because honestly, for the last 2 years, I've wanted them to be bad, but they just kept not being bad. And you lose Bergeron, you lose Krejci, you replace them with Coyle and Zacha, and suddenly they still produce similarly. It's just frustrating, honestly. So at Boston, they're not, let's be honest, they're not Stanley Cup contenders. They are holding on as much as they can, but they're filling in pieces they're not fully elite. They are good pieces, but they're not fully elite. Think about the 2 signings that they did. They picked up Zadorov, which was a good pickup. And also they picked up, what's the other guy's name? Elias Lindholm. A little expensive, let's be honest. Elias Lindholm is not a $7.75 million a year player. Zadorov is definitely not he's not a 5-year player. But to me, it's always been that when you think of the UFAs, you always pay $1 million more on bigger UFAs. You pay $1 million a year more per year, and you just pay 1 more year than you would. So Zadorov is a case where if you got him for 5 years for $4 million, you kind of like that a lot better. But 6 years at $5 million, it's a little tough to swallow. Elias Lindholm, he's maybe a $6.5 million player. Is he a $7.75 million player? I don't think so. But so to me, Boston, you are a playoff contender. As frustrating as it is, they're still going to finish at least 3rd in the division. We know Florida. We'll get to Florida. I don't want to spoil it. I can't just spoil things right here. We're going alphabetical. Florida, they might be okay. Maybe. We'll see. But Boston's going to do well. They always do. So, Buffalo, what the fuck? Buffalo, what are you doing? Do you know who you signed? You signed Jason Zucker to a year contract for like a couple million, $5 million a year. I mean, I get you locked up Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. That's great for 5 years. You got Consta Helenius. You signed him to ELC. You traded for Beck Mullenstein. You traded like a 3rd round pick for him or something like that. You signed James Reimer, Jason Zucker, Sam Lafferty, Nicholas Elbe-Kubel. Like you're filler players. These are bottom guys. These are 2nd, 3rd liners. But I kind of get it. You're trying to surround them with veterans. You need to surround them with better veterans so that they can develop properly. You don't want just guys that are just here because you want to hear guys that are here. They're going to push your elite players. You have elite players like Owen Powers. You have Darlene. You have, you don't have Peyton Krebs signed, but you have like Tux Good. Like you have like these young, awesome, Devin Levi. Like, and you're playing with James Reimer. Like, what are you doing? So I don't know. I mean, because they didn't even make any good moves. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention for Boston, they also lost Allmark, so that is a bummer for them. But I mean, I think they picked up a good amount for him. But still, they're still playoff contender because Swayman's going to look good because they're going to sign him. I'm not worried about them signing him. But Buffalo, again, you make weird moves like you trade Matthew Savoy, which is you could have got more. You got Ryan McLeod. You could have done more. I don't know what's happening. Like, you traded a 2nd round pick for Beck Mellons. He's unproven. Dude, I just don't get it. Like, I mean, so you trade out Eric Johnson last year. I mean, you traded Kyle Okposo, your captain. You traded Casey Middlestein. Okay, you did get Bowen Byram. I forgot about that. You got Bowen Byram, so that is a good pickup. So now you have Bowen Byram, injury prone, but still an elite defenseman. Owen Powers. You have Darlene, who honestly arguably is going to be your next captain, him or Chuck. So surround him with a better defense. Get him with an amazing defenseman, right? Like maybe Montour is not it, but maybe you should have gone for something like Montour, right? It was a little high caliber. I think that would have made more sense to do something like that. I mean, maybe I don't know how much cap space they have, but it's honestly, it's confusing to be honest. So, moving on to the Calgary Flames. So the Calgary Flames are another team that I kind of am like, what the fuck's happening? Because to me, the Calgary Flames, they're a little directionless. I mean, they made some good moves. I actually like some of the moves they made. I think they made some, they moved out Elias Lindholm. They moved out Zadorov. They moved out Mangiapane. So they traded Mangiapane to the Washington Capitals. They traded Jacob Markstrom, right? So you moved out your Vezina candidate star. You picked up Kevin Ball in a 1st round pick. I liked that. That was a good move. Let's see. You acquired a guy from the San Jose Sharks. I mean, you moved out. Oh yeah, you moved out Noah Hannafin. I forgot about that. So you Noah Hannafin for 1st round pick, 3rd round pick, and Daniil Miramov. I guess they really liked him. Moved out Tanev, and at least this is a good direction. You're tearing it down the way you should properly, right? And you did get Artemov, Grushnikov, and a 2nd round pick. I kind of like that. Again, move out Lindholm. They did the most teardown. They traded out to Foley too. I forgot about that last year. They traded to Foley at the end. Holy smokes! And they moved Zadorov early. Honestly, they probably could have got more for Zadorov at the time. They had a 5th and a 3rd round pick. So, I mean, I kind of like it. It feels like a retool. So I'm gonna kind of go. It is still what the fuck though, because to me, retool is under what the fuck because it looks so messy. I'll give you an example of someone in the future. St. Louis Blues kind of looks like that. They're not rebuilding. They're kind of in the what the fuck category. So, and like I said, let's see who else you signed. You signed Dustin Wolf to a 2-year contract. Great. Awesome. You got, I think, Anthony Mantha as well. Oh, you got Igor Shangovich. You signed him for 5 years. Love that for him, by the way. We got picked up Brian Lomberg. You got Anthony Mantha, Jake Bean, which all feel like Ryan Lomberg, not so much. Anthony Mantha's kind of reclamation project. You're hoping he pops off. If he doesn't, then it's okay. But You're kind of hoping he pops off. Jake Bean, similar, kind of hoping he pops off. Martin Ferk, AHLer, wicked slap shot. But you're kind of just filling in spots, hoping. I guess this is kind of nice that you get the young guys coming up. You sign Zane Perek. He's probably gonna play in the AHL. But this is a retool. It's a what the fuck. You're not trying to be good. You're trying to be okay. You're trying to be competent, I'd say. And I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the what the fuck. It does feel like a retool. It is a retool. Let's be honest. Flames fans, don't try and argue. Like, you're not gonna win. It's a retool. Go look at anyone else's review as well. So, Carolina Hurricanes. So we have Carolina Hurricanes. Are they a Stanley Cup contender? No. You know why? They lost Brady Shea. They lost Brett Pesce. But they are are they wild card? They're not wild card yet, are they? No. Playoff contend. Yeah, they're a solid playoff contender. I mean, they just signed Seth Jarvis, which I like. They signed well, that's all they have. I mean, the problem is they lost so much, and I just don't know if I have the confidence in the Carolina Hurricanes that everyone else does. I did like them. I like some of the things that they did. They had Jake Gensel last year, traded him out, right? But overall, like, it didn't do anything too big. Let's see who else did they pick up. I remember they picked up Kuznetsov last year. That was good. But overall, they didn't get much. They didn't do much. Who else let's see who else they sign. Going through here. Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, I like the Seth Jarvis. I like the Seth Jarvis a lot, by the way. 8 years at $7.4 million. It's really 7.9, but it got deferred in a 9th year. So I'm excited about that. That's cool. You re-sign Martin Necas to a two-year contract. You re-sign Jack Drury. Jason Slavin, you re-sign him. You guys are so cheap for Slavin. You sign Roslovic. I don't love that. It's Riley Stillman. I mean, I don't know. Like, Jacob Slavin. There you go. Josiah Slavin, you also signed as well. Sean Walker was great. I like Sean Walker. Shane Gosper, I like that too. But are you better? Like, is Pesce? Would you rather have Pesce, Shea, or Sean Walker and Gosper? Like, to me, it doesn't. To me, you're giving away defensive guys, and you're bringing in offensive guys. So, and the thing is Carolina has more of a defensive shutdown team. So maybe there's like the ideology, like the culture is so defensively minded that maybe you can get a little more defensive prowess out of a Sean Walker, who's an offensive defenseman, and Shane Gosper, who's more of an offensive defenseman. Maybe you can kind of like integrate them to be a little more defensively sound. But to me, it doesn't, I don't know if it makes sense. I mean, we'll see how it works out. I like the William Carrier. It's crazy. It's $2 million for 6 years. That's crazy. You re-sign Martin Hook. I kind of like, there's some of these signs that are kind of sneaky. I don't mind it. Tyson Jones, Ty Smith are fine. Re-sign Jalen Chatfield. I like that too. Ryan Suzuki. I mean, there's a couple things in here that I don't mind. I don't mind, but are they needle movers? Not really. And like that's my issue, is that Carolina has good players, but do they have stars? And that's a huge issue. I mean, if you don't have the stars, I mean, I'll believe me, I like some of their prospects they have coming. Bradley Nadeau, Jackson Blake, but they're all like good. They're not great. And that's where I'm kind of like, okay, like, you're a playoff team. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's the goal, is not to be maybe the owner's goal is not to be a Stanley Cup team. My apologies. Stanley Cup team, maybe just to make the playoffs, which is a bummer, but I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, because I'm curious on what you guys think. Like I said, if you're feeling it, hit like, subscribe. If you don't like my yawning, I apologize. I'm tired. But either way, let's go jumping on to the Blackhawks. It's pretty much cut and dry. They are a rebuilding team, and again, it's not really a debate. You just got Connor Bedard last year. You're not suddenly amazing. You're not suddenly the greatest team in the world, right? So to me, you're going, let's go here. Let's go. You picked up this past year, Ilya McCabe, Sam Lafferty. He signed with Buffalo. That's weird. Anyways, Sam Lafferty. I probably for the rights to Sam Lafferty. That's why. and a second round pick. So you pick up Ilya Mikheyev. I like that. You also traded. You picked up Bolivier last year. That's all right. Not too bad. Rem Picklet. So I mean, you're picking up guys. The trades you're doing, you're picking up guys and you're taking them on for picks. Mind you, they signed a couple guys that I really liked. You guys signed Bertuzzi. Oh, he's like 4 years. I thought it was like 2 years. So I like this. I like the Bertuzzi for 5.5. That was a good price. It was 2 in a year for sure. It was a good price. Teuvo Teravainen leaving they lost Carolina lost him. I forgot about that. Good veteran player though, 5.4 for 3 years. Alec Martinez, $4 million for 1 year. That's good. TJ Brody, 2 years, 3.75. I like that. Laurent Brossoit, that's good. Patty Maroon, Craig Smith. I mean, those are some good veterans. I like that a lot. I don't mind the moves. Like the nice thing is these are all like pretty tough guys that you're insulating with, right? You're Craig Smith, that's your fourth line center right there. Patty Maroon, that's going to be your Corey Perry-esque. You're going to get Taylor Hall back from an injury as well. Laurent Brossoit, I thought that's $3.3 million is way more than Laurent Brossoit should have made, but that's why he's playing that's why he's playing on the Blackhawks, because they had Soderblom and Mrazek, and Soderblom got fucking wrecked when he was down there because he's a fucking rookie, right? So you have Laurent Brossoit as a good backup right there. So I think that'd be good 1A, 1B with those two. Basically 2 backup goalies at this point. So, but overall, like Chicago, keep at it. I like what you guys are doing. You guys are pulling draft picks. You're pulling in decent players. And I think you guys are able to be stabilized. You're stabilizing now. You're going to get a top 5 draft pick in the next draft. And good for you guys. I love that. Avalanche. So this is one this is one of my, I'm not going as far as what the fuck. Although it definitely feels like that because I don't know what they're doing. And that's my issue, is that you have phenomenal pieces. You won the Stanley Cup recently, but is the goal to win it again is my question. So with that, you made some trade, like you moved out a couple guys, you like traded Ben Myers at the end, but like you picked up a couple guys, you did like Jakob Trenin, you picked up Brandon Duhaime, you had Sean Walker, like you got Casey Middlestad, which is nice. So I mean, you guys picked up some players last year, but are you guys trying to be Stanley Cup contenders, or are you trying to be like playoff contenders? And to me, it feels more like playoff. They're not trying to be Stanley Cup contenders. Picked up Oliver Shillington. You signed Callum Ritchie. That's nice. You re-signed Jonathan Drouin. I think that was a smart move. Calvin DeHaan. I mean, Yoel Kiviranta. You did sign Casey Middlestad. That is nice, to a 3-year contract. I like that. But you guys didn't do anything. Oh, Ivan. They picked up Ivan. I like that. To me, I just don't know. Like, you're hoping that Landeskog comes back. Like, you have a good team, but you didn't make it as far as you wanted to last year. And you have Dallas in you have your whole conference. You have the Oilers, you have Dallas. Like, these are 2 hard hitters. You have Vancouver Canucks, and then maybe you have the Colorado Avalanche as a 4th team, and they're good. They're just not great. And then what's going to happen with what's the guy that he got the drunk? No, he got banned for 6 months. I can't think of his name. Either way, I just don't understand what you're trying to do, because it feels like you're not trying hard. You're trying, but you're trying hard enough. And I mean, let's be honest. They're playoff contenders. Let's be honest. They are. It's just frustrating. So, I just don't know what they're gonna do. So, I didn't want to plan what I was gonna say when it came to the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're not talking about them at all. I could probably cry on camera right now. Not trying to, but like the loss of Matthew and Johnny Gaudreau shook the sports world. It shook me. I don't even know him, right? But I mean, he seemed like such a great kid. He had a great story. He thought he was going to go. He's a New Jersey kid. Thought he was going to sign with the Flyers. He chooses Columbus, which is the crazy thing. He chooses Columbus, signs, max term deal there. Says, I want to be here. Was trying to bring other guys here, and the tragic loss to a drunk driver. And I don't know if I can do. I don't even know if I can do this video. I might be a separate video. I actually didn't do a video initially because I wasn't trying to pander. I didn't know what to say. I genuinely, I still could probably cry on camera, but like I didn't know what to say. And it's not. I mean, what is there to say? It's he's a huge loss. I genuinely I love the small players. Like I think they're so much fun. He was so like, and you watch the highlights. I mean, that game against, when against Dallas when he picked that side court, I mean, he fucking worked for it, dude. And I was surprised when he picked Columbus too. And Columbus fans, you deserve better. I mean, when they lost Matthias Kivlenieks, dude. Dude, I was upset about that too. Like I thought it was a great goal. I liked seeing him play. I thought he was gonna be one of the goalies of the future, and I thought him and his relationship with Elvis Merzlikins was huge as well. And Columbus doesn't deserve this. I hope Columbus doesn't have to deal with a tragedy like this for, I mean, hopefully ever, right? But how many other organizations have gone through such tragedies like this? And I just don't know. I don't know, but I mean, our hearts are with you, Matthew. I mean, I saw the most fucking brutal thing I saw. It was on a jersey, the back of. I'll cry thinking of it, but I'm gonna try to push through. So, Columbus, they're rebuilding, by the way. So, I saw on the back of a blank jersey, they had Kivlenieks was getting water spraying into his mouth at the time in goal, and his two brothers talking. He's like, "Hey, buddy, you ready to go score? Ready to go shoot some pucks?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna get goals easy on this guy." And yeah, it was a great jersey, dude. So, but basically, Columbus, our heart's out for you. I hope you have a massive fucking year. I hope you have a phenomenal year. I think you guys deserve it. I mean, the city deserves it. I mean, like, I forget about Columbus all the time. They're like the little brothers. That to me, that's like Columbus is like a little brother. I'm from Detroit, so I root for original 16 in the Red Wings, and like we give Ohio so much shit. It's not even funny. And everyone shits on Ohio. But Columbus, like everyone, I think I speak for the hockey world when you say we just want the best for Columbus. The fans, they deserve better. They have a phenomenal fan base. They fucking pull out for Columbus. They come out for them, and so we love you, Columbus. I love you, Johnny. We love you, Maddie. That was great. Take care of Kiwi while you're up there. By the way, if you didn't hear Kivlenieks, so Kivlenieks died of a firework incident where he dove and blocked fireworks from people and took one to the chest. Johnny and Matthew died riding bikes and were hit by a drunk driver. Honestly, pretty upset about that. I mean, if you have issues, take an Uber, guys. Take an Uber. Leave your car there. Figure out in the morning. People's lives change every day about drunk drivers. It's not fair to the families who are left without them. Let's be honest. So it is, and why fuck your life up that way anyway? So, anyways, fuck. All right. I mean, there's no way to push past, and you got to keep moving forward with this. So, but our hearts are out to you, Johnny and Maddie. Man, love you guys. I mean, again, it's just crazy. So, watch some of the highlights of them, honor them, cherish them, give Columbus nothing but love. I know we shit on them, but I'm like, man, I think it's gonna be a huge year for them. So. We love you guys. We love you in the hockey world. Our hearts out to you guys. So love you. So hard turn though. We do have to keep moving on. Unfortunately, now that I'm fucking waterworks over here, it's okay. I don't mind doing this. I'd have no problem crying. And some guys are like, oh, I'm a man. You can't cry. No, dude. Like you can feel emotions. You can recognize when there's a real moment here. So, anyways, moving on to the Dallas Stars. I just talked to them. Similar to Colorado. Dallas is if anything, I mean, I'm trying to limit these up to the top 4 contenders, like only 4 on the Stanley Cup contenders, because you can't have 8 Stanley Cup contenders, because that's the whole second round. So, the Stanley Cup contender in the Central Division is the Dallas Stars. They made some moves last year, really tried to really fully go for it. But weren't able to, right? They ended up trading for Tanev and everything. So, but this up and coming year, they signed Brendan Dillon as a defenseman. They Casey DeSmith as a backup. They re-signed Nils Lundqvist and Matt Duchene. Signed Ilya Lyubushkin, Matt Dumba, and Magnus Hellberg and Colin Blackwell. I mean, like, for a team that's supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender, you're basically filling in your bottom. I mean, you think Matt Dumba and Ilya Lyubushkin are your movers and shakers? They're fucking not. Brendan Dillon, that's your third pair guy. No, I mean, Casey DeSmith, a backup. I mean, it's better. I guess maybe he's better than Wedwood, maybe. But I know you're gonna be relying on Ottinger. So basically, it's relying on your stars you currently have. You're banking on a huge year from Robertson. Same with Ottinger. Same with you're hoping that Stankoven's good. Maverick Bourque, because you're a young guy that's coming up. He played. I think he came up. I don't know if he played in the playoff. I think he might play one game in the playoffs. Hoping your veterans stay healthy. Ty Sagan, Jamie Benn, and they traded out Radek Faksa. They traded out Ty Dellandro, which I thought was only for a 4th round pick, which is crazy to me. I was surprised they did that. I like Ty Dellandro, but I think he was an RFA, and so I think it'd be more opportunity for him basically. So yeah, Dallas Stars, man, they're doing great. So my favorite team in the whole NHL is the Detroit Red Wings. I'm not a delusional Red Wings fan. There is a huge issue right now with them not having Raymond Insider signed. I think they get done before training camp. I think supposedly Dave Pagnotta said they would. I mean, they made no moves at the trade deadline to pick up anyone else. Like, you still kind of, I mean, the only thing they did is they traded Andrew Gibson, so their 2nd round pick, for Jesse Kiskinen and a 2nd round pick. So they basically did Andrew Gibson for Jesse Kiskinen. And then traded that 2nd round pick with Jake Wallman for future considerations to the San Jose Sharks, which I thought I still stand as bullshit. I like the Andrew Gibson one because you get Andrew Gibson he's gonna be a good defenseman. But Jesse Kiskinen is supposed to be a pretty good forward. And Red Wings are very deep at defense. They're not deep at forwards. So I like that move. I don't mind that move in the depths in the prospect side of it. But trading out Jake Wallman for a 2nd round pick is kind of bullshit to me. I definitely think they could have gotten. I think they could have got a 7th round. They could have got something back from him, at least a 7th round pick, maybe an ECHL kind of guy. But to me, that was kind of bullshit. I think that was honestly, to me, Jake Wallman for a 2nd round pick with a second, again, not 4, with a 2nd round pick is Yzerman's worst move thus far. Trade wise, I don't know. Signing wise, it may be Cop contract, that or the Sherratt's working out better, but it's probably the Cop contract. So Cop contract and Jake Wallman for a 2nd round pick are 2 of his worst decisions in my opinion. One other thing he did offload. Yzerman did offload Robbie Fabry with a conditional 4th round pick. Picked up a ECHL goalie, not a huge deal. But again, that's not bad. Again, and Red Wings are in that weird spot where they're and to me, they were in that wild card spot, and I think they're still in a wild card. They're in to me, the wild card spot. Let me redefine. Wild card spot is that 4th spot, but it's also people who are just going to just miss. So in that last year's case, Washington won the wild card spot, but they lost in 4 games, and Red Wings are same points, but they had less regulation wins, so they didn't make the playoffs. So to me, they're in a similar spot like in last year's case. But Red Wings did make some good signings. They re-signed Patrick Kane, huge, right? They got Albert Johansson. That's one of their 70. Jack Campbell, who is going to be their 4th goalie, I guess. and the Red Wings are just so frustrating because they're similar to Carolina where they don't have the elite players. And like, so I'm all over the place. Sorry, that Columbus got threw me off. So let's start big players. Sign Lucas Raymond. Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider should both sign $8.5 million deals for 8 years. Cut and dry. But you know who likes to dick around their fucking RFAs is Steve Yzerman. So he's gonna run them. He's gonna try and save as much money as possible, try to make the best deal for the team, of course, which I love. But it also is he's a tough negotiator. So to me, you're kind of screwing yourself. I think what ends up happening is you get like a 6-7 year deal out of Raymond. I think you get a 3-4 year deal out of Raymond. Keep him as RFA. Then you go 7-8 years for Seider, and I think Seider makes more as well. And I think get it over with. But Larkin makes 8.7 in change for 8 years. That is your cap. That is your internal cap. No one's getting above that. So you get Seider for 8.5. You get these are 8 year deals. Seider for 8.5 for 8 years. You get Raymond for $8 million for 8 years. I think that makes the most sense. Cut and dry, easy peasy. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Raymond goes with the shorter deal because I think he thinks he has more potential, more to give. He had a great year this past year. He had a breakout year. Seider, we know, has more to give. And that's the goal with these guys like Edmondson coming up, that they're going to be able to help take off some of the load off of Seider so he can perform better. And I think Seider wants a shorter contract. Yzerman wants long. Seider wants short because then he can make more money later. Yzerman's like, hey, I want to save some fucking money, so we're going to go long on this one. So anyways, Jack Campbell, they did sign Jack Campbell. They have 4 goalies, and so they signed to Cam Talbot. They have Billy Husso, they have Alex Lyon, and they have Jack Campbell, who Jack Campbell will be sent. Mind you, I think Jack Campbell gets sent down. I also think they probably waive Billy Husso as well, depending on who does better. I think Lyon and Talbot end up being your 1-2, and you hopefully don't need a third, but I think they end up waiving Billy Husso because his contract, he has 1 year left on the contract, and at like $4.5 million. I think it's 4.25. No one's gonna pick that up, so they'll let him waive. So, they re-signed Christian Fisher. They signed Eric Gustafson for 2 years. Again, Cam Talbot, Tyler Mott. They pick up Vladis Tarasenko, which I thought was awesome. Stanley Cup winner Tarasenko, by the way, for 2 years, by the way, 2 years as well. So I think that was huge. And then they re-signed Joe Veleno. I mean, I get Joe Veleno. So again, there's a lot of like good little signings, but again, you're a middle team. You're not going crazy. You're not a Stanley Cup winner. You're not a full-blown playoff contender. Actually, I honestly hope they're not yet. I hope they push, but I think this is the year where you bring in younger guys and you let them fill in. I hope they bring up Carter Mazer. I hope they bring up Casper. One of those guys. Just bring up some young guys, please. These guys are over-ripening in the AHL, in my opinion. So, Oilers, it's not even a question. Stanley Cup contenders. If you're an idiot if you don't think so. They went to the Stanley Cup. They went to Game 7. They were literally 1 game away from winning the Stanley Cup. Only a couple goals away, honestly. It could have gone either way. And again, Florida played so well. But again, I think it is Edmonton's cup to lose this year. Supposedly the reports say that people were taking Edmonton off their no trade list because they were like, I'd be open to go to Edmonton. They look like a great team. Mind you, they did have 2 big losses. Now, if you don't recall, St. Louis Blues, they put in 2 offer sheets, one for Philip Broberg and one for Dylan Holloway at the max, such that the compensation would be a 2nd round pick for Philip Broberg and a 3rd round pick for Dylan Holloway. They did end up freeing some cap space to be able to look like they potentially be able to make the move. Moved out Cody Ceci and a 3rd round pick for Ty Emberson, who will just be a 6th, 7th defenseman. Then they picked up Vasily Podkolzin from the Canucks for a 4th round pick. Or like, okay, like what are you guys doing? So it was a bit weird there. But what ended up happening is the Oilers, I think they wanted to retain him, but the problem is St. Louis Blues did a very strategic move, but they did the Holloway and the Broberg contracts for 2 years because they knew that they would have to re-sign Drysdale, and that was the main focus. And honestly, it was crazy that I imagine the Oilers were focusing on the Drysdale contract, and they weren't focusing on Broberg and Holloway. And that's when the St. Louis Blues put those offer sheets in, and then suddenly talk started because they had to. And so it was honestly, it was crazy. And so basically, Oilers didn't want to let him go, but Oilers were like, listen, Blues, we'll take the second and third round pick, which, by the way, for 2 first rounders, I think it was like an 8th overall pick and a 14th overall pick for Dylan Hallman and Broberg. That's crazy that they would be traded for a second and third. Definitely wouldn't have done that ever. Well, that's the nice thing about offer sheets, that you can do these type of things. So basically, the Oilers are like, Stan Bowman is basically like, hey, not Ken Holland. Stan Bowman is now the guy who did the sexual assault, who was in Chicago for the sexual assault things. New GM. Doug Armstrong was of the St. Louis Blues, was like, all right, well, nope, we're gonna take your guys' two of your best player, 2 of your better players, your middle 6 guys. Middle 6 and honestly second pair D in my opinion. But Sam Bowman's like, listen, if you give us a little extra, and you can keep him. So they end up sending Paul Fisher and a 3rd round pick to the Oilers. The Blues did for future considerations. Basically, is like hey, okay, instead of just taking Broberg and Holloway for a 2nd and 3rd round pick, we'll give you another third round pick and a 5th round pick prospect. So I think that was ended up being smart of the Oilers to be able to do that, but it ended up, it was a little bummer. I thought that Doug Armstrong didn't just kind of like fucking get him, like pin him down, So I would like that a little better. Anywho, Oilers, they did sign Leon Draisaitl to a massive contract for $112 million over 8 years, $14 million per year. Huge. I think that just shows that, McDavid's coming. He's coming too. Next year, he's signing. They got cottages next to each other. Near each other. So, again, Oilers brought in Ty Emberson, signed him to a contract. They signed Adam Hendrick to a 2-year contract. They signed Arvidsson to a 2-year contract. They signed Jeff Skinner to a contract. Re-signed Matthias Janmark. Re-signed Corey Perry. Signed Josh Brown, Connor Brown, Troy Stetcher. These are all your bottom guys. Most of your top guys are taken care of, right? Calvin Pickard is a 2-year deal. Again, they're bringing Vasily Podkolzin, which is great. So it's like these are good. Your top end guys are not the issue. The DQ probably use a little bit more, but overall, like, it's a pretty good. They're top tier. They're god tier at this point. So we're excited for them. And look at this in the Edmonton EF for Florida. Florida goes right next to the Oilers. So you have Oilers in the Pacific being the top contender out of the Pacific. You have the Dallas Stars coming out of the top contender out of the Central. And for the Atlantic Division, going number 1, top tier, gonna be Florida Panthers. So Florida Panthers, they had some decent losses. You're losing Montour, you're losing Ekman Larson, you're losing Tarasenko, who you picked up at the trade deadline. Okposo, not really much of a big guy there. But they had some injuries at the start of the year where you're like, what's that gonna affect him? But they signed some pretty good guys here. Picking up Boquist, I know it was an underrated signing. Re-signed Lundell, and he picked up Nate Schmidt. Jesper Boquist and Adam Boquist. Look at that. Picked up both of them. Sam Reinhart re-signed him to an 8-year deal. Kulikov, AJ Greer, Chris Drieger. Look at that. Thomas Nosek. Again, you're filling in the bottom guys. Your major losses, being Montour, not Chandler Stevenson. Who was the other guy? No, Seattle that picked up Chandler Stevenson. Anyways, you re-sign the guys you want. You re-sign Reinhart. You let Montour go. You couldn't keep both of them, and that's okay. Again, your choir. They didn't make any trades really. They traded with Toronto and Seattle for some picks, but overall, they're keeping the band back together. They're going back at it. They're trying to do back-to-backs, but there's things such as that, like playoff exhaustion, right? They're just you're gassed from that playoff run. So we'll see how it goes with that. So we're now into our 14th team, the LA Kings, and again, a team similar to the. I pick on the Minnesota Wild. Let's be honest. I pick on them because they haven't had the success that they've won in their whole. I think they've won in the last maybe 10 years. They've won 1 playoff round. It's it's a bit embarrassing. And the LA Kings, probably the LA Kings, you keep running into the Edmonton Oilers. And so you have the guys that they sign. They re-signed Quentin Byfield. Love that. Picked up Caleb Jones. Fine. Studnicka. Fine. Joel Edmondson paid way too much for him. 4 years at $3.85 million. Way too much. Warren Fogle, 3.5 for 3 years. What are you doing, guys? Felix Copley played very well. Trevor Lewis, to re-sign there. But you're like, what are you guys trying to do? What is the goal? I mean, you picked up Tanner Jeannot, you traded and got for a second and fourth round pick. Ugh, don't love that. I mean, the big move that they ended up doing, which I thought was smart before his no trade move got in here, is you trade out Pierre-Luc Dubois and you get back Darcy Kemper. Is Darcy Kemper the guy who is the Stanley Cup winner? Nope, he is not. He won Stanley Cup with, he won the Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche, right? I'm very sure. I'm very sure on this. I'm very sure, but now I have to check because I'm Colorado. Yes, 22. Yep, because Florida won, Vegas won, Colorado. Yes, so yes, he is the Stanley Cup winner. My apologies. So they pick up Darcy Kemper, who did not have a good year with Washington, and then for Pierre-Luc Dubois, who did not have a good year with the LA Kings. It's a huge risk for Washington, but now LA Kings have only 3 years of 3 or 5 years of Kemper. I think it's only 3 years. 3 years of Kemper at $5 million. No, it's more than that. Let me look. He is signed until 27. So so now they only have 3 years of Kemper at 5.25, and they moved off of Pierre-Luc Dubois, who has like 7 years of like $8 million. So it was smarter for Rob Blake to fix Rob Blake's mistake. So, but LA Kings, you're kind of in that. What the fuck? What's the plan, guys? Is the goal to be better? Is the goal to be a playoff team? Is the goal to be a Stanley Cup contender? Like you have a lot of old pieces. You have old pieces on your team, and your guys are good, but they're not great. Like Quentin Byfield's finally starting to pan out, but besides that, who else do you have? Like you have Spence looked good. That would be cool to see him play well. I mean, you guys, let's see, you guys picked up Liam, you guys signed Liam Greentree, you re-signed Jordan Spence, or Eric Portillo, but he's in AHL bounds. Jordan Spence, I don't know, he may crack the NHL lineup, but to me, I just don't know what the fuck you're doing. So let me know what your thoughts are, LA fans, because I'm curious on that. I don't get it, man. I mean, and they're not they're the what the fuck category. They are. Pacific is going to be Oilers, Vancouver, not Sharks, not Anaheim, Vegas, not Utah. I mean, LA's. I mean, they're a wild card team. They're in the 4th position. But they are what the fuck. They are what the fuck. Let's be honest. They are. So so now we're on to the Minnesota Wild. So for the Minnesota Wild, I honestly, I've been shitting on them all video. Let's be honest, and they're in the what the fuck category. I mean, like, all right. So you re-sign Marc-Andre Fleury. Love that. Love MAF. Cool. You sign Yakov Trenin. Bit expensive, $3.5 million over 4 years. You re-sign Jacob Milton. Genuinely like him. Jealous that you guys got him from the San Jose Sharks. I'm on the San Jose Sharks, my second favorite team. Dallas is my third. Wings are top. Yeah, baby. You signed Brock Faber that huge 8-year, $8.5 million deal. Love that for you guys. But what did you guys do? You didn't do any trades. You guys didn't pick up any so you guys are like, and the bummer with the Minnesota Wild is that I think this is one of the years that you have the $14 million in dead cap. I mean, you look. Pretty sure they do still. I'm looking on Puckpedia right now. So if you don't use Puckpedia, it is a phenomenal breakdown. I used to use Cat Friendly, but they definitely don't do that anymore. Yeah. So holy fuck. Okay. I want to see this. So they have $14 million of their cap space is taken up just by. Okay, listen to this. This is crazy, by the way. $14 million is taken up just by dead cap space from the Zach Parise and the Ryan Suter buyouts. You have so Brock Faber just signed for 8 years for $8.5 million. That is 9.66% of the cap space. Of all their cap space, 16.8 million of cap space is just taken up by these two guys. Holy shit. So they're in the middle of a retool right now, which is it's what the fuck. Let's be honest. It's a what the fuck. We know what they're doing. It's not a rebuild. They still have good players, but they're not acting like a rebuilding team because they don't have good enough assets to trade and get back picks. Yeah, what the fuck? I want to like these guys. I'm having a hard time with it. So you just didn't do anything. You didn't do anything remarkable. And that's the bummer is you guys didn't do anything remarkable. And it's just a bummer, honestly. So we are on our, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14th team at this point. We're almost halfway there. Canadians are rebuilding still. And Canadians, they are doing, I'm so jealous of the Canadians. They're doing such a good rebuild. They're trading out picks properly to get big guys. They're finding like these young guys who are working out for them that they're able to either trade or keep or bring up. They're not bringing up everyone nice and slowly. They're not making any big moves. They're not signing any big free agents. I mean, they signed Lane Hudson now. Let's see who else they sign. Alex Barré-Boulet, fine. Yaroslav Slavkovsky, they signed him to his 8-year deal at 7.6, which is a steal, by the way. Justin Barron, they re-signed. Arbor Jacka, they re-signed. Keaton Gooley, 6 years, $5.55 million. Awesome. They picked up Patrick freaking Laine, who honestly his time was done in Columbus anyways. It's an RIP. But he was going to be out before Johnny passed away. But this is good for Patrick Laine. It's a good fresh start. Columbus didn't have to retain any salary, and they sent out a second round pick, and they pick up Jordan Harris, which I thought was good for Columbus. Again, we didn't cover Columbus. They pick up Jordan Harris. Good for them. Again, if you guys want to see a Columbus video, let me know. I can do one, but I think it's improper. Whatever their season is, it's their season. Anyways, Montreal, good moves. They traded up, or traded down in the draft. Last year they sent out Jake Allen for a third round pick as well. They traded Sean Monahan, got the first round pick there. So I mean, they're just making smart moves, and they're just letting the young guys. They're bringing all the young guys up together, which is I wanted for the Red Wings. I just wanted them to be bad long. I want the Red Wings to be bad longer, because then you allow the young kids to come up together, and there's rooms and there's spots for them. And then suddenly all these guys are coming together, and they're coming good together, and they're building good habits together. And so that's what I wanted, and it's a little frustrating. It's a bit frustrating. Anyways, good for them. Good for the Montreal Canadiens. I'm just honestly jealous. Just jealous, honestly. So we're on to our 15th team. We have the Nashville Predators. To me, I mean, I can tell you right up, Riff, and I'm not even looking at any of their stuff. They are for sure a playoff contender. I mean, they made the playoffs last year, barely, against the Vancouver Canucks, and they fought hard against them all the way to Game 7. And they, by the way, they only got better, which is crazy. They picked up Stamkos. I'm not even looking at the list yet. They picked up Stamkos. They picked up Marcia Show. They traded Askarov. I mean, they had the busiest fucking season, I'll tell you. Look at here, Kiefer Velos, like Vinny Hastroza, Stamkos, $8 million for 4 years. UC Star re-signed him for $7.74 for 8 years. Brady Shea, $7 million for 7 years. That is way too fucking expensive. Marcia, 5.5 for 5 years. Great deal there. Alex Carrier, and they Scott Wedgwood. Again, they traded Andrew Gibson, signed him to ELC. And then they traded Cody Glass, which is moved out. They had to move out some cap space. They traded Yaroslav Askov. And to me, they did okay. They got a first round pick, which is good. It's either going to be Vegas's or San Jose's. That's what the terms are. They get David Edstrom, who's going to be basically a bottom 6 guy. He's been traded twice, and I don't even think he's signed his ELC yet, and he's been traded twice. He was a 2023 3 first-round draft picks. So last year's pick traded by Vegas this past at the trade deadline, and then traded to and traded that same summer to Nashville. This guy's just bouncing around every which way. So, and Magnus Krona, by the way, I watched his girlfriend, Magnus Krona's girlfriend's TikTok. She's adorable. She's a lot of fun. And so it was okay. Again, and Yaroslav Askarov picked up potential goalie. Number 1 NHL goalie prospect, San Jose picks up. Good pickup. Phenomenal. Touche. Chef's kiss. Again, it was smart for Nashville to move off of Cody Glass as well. So it's good on them. But Nashville, I mean, playoff contender. Honestly, not. I mean, I think they make the second round for sure, and they have to at this point, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes from there. So, but we are going to take a quick break and jump into a quick ad read. We got 2 of them. We're 50 minutes in anyway. So, I mean, it's appropriate, right? I mean, it's not too far off. So we're going to jump into a quick 2 ad reads for BetterHelp and DraftKings, and then we will jump right back into this tier list. So you stick around, please, and thank you. All right, doing DraftKings right here. NFL Week 1 is here, and a new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown. And ready to do a touchdown dance your own. You can sign up and you can bet on any game. I'm watching the Lions game later today. So if you're watching the Chiefs, they just won as well, and you could bet on games like that. If you're a big Taylor Swift fan, I know my wife is. She would absolutely bet for that. So score big with the DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets. When you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL plus premium on us. Only DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit cpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Blue Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. For New Hampshire and Ontario, New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario, bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only if new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Premium terms at nfl.com/terms. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Was there something you love to learn as a child? As an adult, do you make time to learn things as often as you'd like, or was that just lost in childhood? I know for me, I try and stay on top of things. I try and learn new things. I know when I was younger, I learned how to play guitar, so I try and stay on that, try to learn that. I picked up rollerblading again, or roller hockey again. I go and try and do some water sports as well. Trying to learn as much as possible because, kids are always learning and growing, but adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity and that drive for life. Right. And it can get tough, especially now the summer's ending and everything. It can get tough. And for me, I know I've done therapy. I know plenty of people who have done therapy. I've done couples therapy. I've done single therapy for my own self. And it's not about for people who just are going through something. It can be for them. Sometimes you want to just try and better yourself as a person. So if you benefit if you're thinking of starting therapy, try giving BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. And just fill out a quick, brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/THPN today to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/THPN. And jumping back into it, let's get back to our presentation, which is just taking me an extra second, of course. So we're doing our tier list again. We are halfway through. Let's rip through this. You can stop being focused on my face. So New Jersey Devils, going on to them. I am curious. New Jersey Devils, the position that they're going to be in is going to be way better because they're going to get a certain defenseman. Maybe you know his name. His name's Dougie Hamilton. He did a great job, and he's if you didn't see his commercial or not commercials, he did like a little like Twitter ad thing. It was very funny. I'm very. I think it's going to be a good year for the New Jersey Devils. They re-signed Nico Dawes. So they get picked up Thomas Tatar, Brett Pesce for 6 years at $5.5 million, Brendan Dillon for 3 years, Stefan Nosan, right? You're looking at, I mean, you're focusing on some of the young guys. You're focusing on the Jack Hugheses, the Dawson Mercer, who is not signed by the way yet. And you also picked up a little, you picked up a little guy, you know, maybe known as Jacob Markstrom, which was huge, right? You pick up Jacob Markstrom, sending out Kevin Ball and a first round pick. You also had Kakko Kakkonen, but he didn't end up working out. You also move off of John Marino, allowing space for like guys like Luke Hughes to take a little more space. Let's see who else. They moved out Alex Holt and Akira Schmid and brought in Paul Cotter and a 3rd round pick. But I think Devils, because of the injury bug just hit him so hard. I think Jack Hughes also got hit as well. I mean, I think that they're a playoff. I think they're a playoff contender because in the Metro, you're gonna have like guys like the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. I think that's probably it. Those are your biggest competitions. So there's a lot of space. I mean, I don't know if Washington makes it again. I don't know if the Islanders have it. I don't know if Penguins got it. I mean, there's a lot of Philadelphia doesn't for sure. There's a lot of guys, a lot of teams that just aren't ready and available to be able to perform yet. So, moving on to I think playoff contender. That's a pretty solid stance. I don't think there's anything crazy to think that they can make it. I mean, they're for sure in the playoffs. Moving on to the New York Islanders is the next one. Again, this is kind of, to me, without even looking at any of my notes or anything, it's basically a what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? So they end up doing is they didn't really, the only trade they made was they traded a 1st round pick in May. They picked up a 1st round pick and 2 2nd round picks for a 1st round pick and a 2nd round pick. It just, they moved down a couple spots with Chicago. Okay, cool. You re-sign Oliver Wahlstrom. You get Dennis Cholowski, Jesse Pulkkinen. Jesse Pulkkinen. I was two different names. Never mind. You pick up Anthony Duclair, which I thought was a great pickup. So bummed that he had to cut his hair though, as a huge bummer. 4 years, $3.5 million. Love that for him. He played phenomenal last year. But you didn't do anything. You picked up Duclair. That's all you did, really. You picked it. So you didn't do anything last year. You weren't great last year. You're a middling team. It is what the fuck is happening? Are you rebuilding? Are you retooling? What are you trying to do? Talk to me. Islanders fans, can you explain Lou to me? Talk to me, please. I'm having a hard time figuring out what Lou is doing. Do you guys know what he's doing? Because I'm honestly, my microphone keeps messing up. I'm a little lost. And I need some help figuring out what the heck was happening with this. So please, Islanders, talk to me. It's a bit frustrating. Rangers are, again, right off rip, they're Stanley Cup contenders, right? I mean, they got to be Stanley Cup contenders up here. The trades they made, I thought were kind of lackluster last year. I mean, picking up like Werenski at the trade deadline. Not a huge fan. I mean, again, I know San Jose just signed him, but you re-sign Ryan Lindgren, you re-sign Braden Schneider, you sign Chad Riedel, Sam Carrick, I guess, re-sign Kakko. Okay, you pick up Bradley Smith. That's really it. I mean, and by the way, they were a good team. They were a very good team. Ran into the they went to the conference finals. So good team. But I don't know. Did they go to the conference finals? No way. Is that right? Am I thinking this right? Because I think they versed let me see, 2024 playoffs. What do they do? Yeah, Florida. They lost to Florida in the third. Yeah, in the conference finals. Yeah, I was right. Cool. I wasn't. That was crazy, man. I just couldn't think of who they versed in the start. I think they beat Washington. I don't know what I always. It's a blur, honestly. So, but anyway, Rangers are good, and they're still going to be good. They got a good team. They didn't have to make a ton of changes. They made a couple changes, but let's see if that. I mean, they have Shesterkin. You don't need really much more than Shesterkin. So you have Zibanejad, you have Panarin, you have. I mean, Lafreniere is really popping off now. What else do you need? You don't need much else. So I'm curious on what's going to happen. I mean, they're going to be. They honestly, they'll probably fight for the President's Trophy again. Similar to what they did last year. So moving on to the next team, though. Let's go to Ottawa Senators. You signed Nick Cousins. Oh, that's cool. You signed David Perron. That's also cool. Okay. Okay. Adam Gaudette. Awesome. Michael Amadio. Okay. No Gregor K. Ottawa. What are you doing? Let's see. You traded a guy away. You picked up Xavier Borgolo and Jake Chason. You moved out Matthew Joseph. You did trade Jacob Chikrin. That is fair. You did trade Jacob Chikrin. And you did pick up you moved out Jacob Chikrin, who wasn't working out there, similar to Alex DeBrincat. And you picked up Linus Ullmark, which I thought was a interesting trade. Interesting. I hope. I mean, and then the best part of picking up Ullmark is you moved off of Jonas Korpisalo, which is crazy to me. You moved off of Jonas Korpisalo's like full contract, which was not a good contract in the first place. I said this as well. And you picked up a first round pick as well. And you got Linus Ullmark. Again, he's only has 1 year left on his contract, so he has to decide if he wants to stay. I don't think he stays. I think they end up flipping at the deadline. To me, I know what Ottawa's doing. They should be in the rebuild because they have some pieces, but they aren't there yet. They should be doing the Montreal thing, but they're in the what the fuck because I think they're trying to be good. Red Wings, Buffalo, and Ottawa. If you had told me Red Wings are the ones fighting the wild card, I would be like, "Are you serious?" They have Brady Chuck. They have Timothy. Oh, I can't think of his name. Tim Stützle. Buffalo, you have Darlene. All these young players. You have power. You have 2 first overall picks. You're telling me the Red Wings are above you? They're ahead of you? What are you doing then? So, to me, Ottawa, what the fuck's happening? So, we're going on to the Philadelphia Flyers, and now I'm biased. Philadelphia Flyers, I do have a soft spot for them because I think they're a ton of fun. I think they play a tough game. And honestly, my favorite hat actually was until I ruined it, was a Philadelphia Flyers hat. But I got rid of, or I put it in the dryer because I had some issues with laundry. And so Flyers, big fan. You are rebuilding. Yeah, unfortunately, the trade out Cutter Gauthier, which is a huge bummer. But you re-signed Travis Konechny, 8 years at $8.75 million. Honestly, he's the next captain, in my opinion. You pick up, let's see who else you pick up. You signed Matvei Michkov. Awesome. Sick. You got Ivan Fedotov signed as well to a 2-year contract. Right. Awesome. But other thing, I mean, you didn't make any big moves. You did move out the who else? Let me see. You know what's crazy is they actually moved down from Minnesota Wild. They traded out Eric Johnson, Dennis Guriana. I mean, like they were a third party in Noah Hannafin, but overall, they honestly you're rebuilding. It's not a big deal. So, moving on to the next one. All right, moving on to the Philadelphia Flyers. And I feel like Philadelphia Flyers. I just did them. Anyways, moving on to the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's crazy because at this point, if you're watching or listening to this, Sidney Crosby is still unsigned. He has 1 year left on his contract, so he can sign a contract. And supposedly Kyle Dubas, the GM of the Pittsburgh Penguins, has contracts available to him. he can do whatever he needs to do. But I just don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. So if you're looking at what happened last year, at the trade deadline, I mean, they traded out Alex Nylander, they picked up Emil Bemstrom, they traded out Jake Gensel, picked up a bunch of picks, Michael Bunting and a bunch of smaller picks, prospects and everything. They traded out Chad Ruedel. They traded out Magnus Hellberg. They picked up Kevin Hayes and a second round pick that's basically a cap dump. Let's see what else they do. They traded out Riley Smith. They picked up Cody Glass. So basically, before I get to the big prospect move, they're basically just doing small moves right now to they're kind of just making these bets on guys that maybe have been good or could be good. Cody Glass could be good. Riley Smith didn't work out, move him out. They tried, right? Kevin Hayes has been good before. Try him out. You're just trying these guys on for size, right? Basically, you're looking for some guys that can play with Sidney Crosby's team at this point, and whether he stays or not. I don't think he does, in my opinion. I think they trade him to Colorado. I think it's inevitable. I honestly think it's inevitable, honestly. But Rutger McGroarty is the bigger acquisition from the Winnipeg Jets. They traded out Braden Yeager. Crazy enough, Rutger McGroarty, a 2022 first round pick, 14th overall. Well, either way, both of them. Let me look these up. Rutger McGroarty was a 2022 first round pick, 14th overall. Braden Yeager was a 2023 first round pick, 14th overall. So you traded the 2022 and 2023 14 overall picks. You swapped them, which I thought was good. I think Rutger McGroarty is more NHL ready, and supposedly Braden Yeager has a higher ceiling. So, we'll see. I don't know prospects well enough. It's crazy you got a 1-for-1 like this with prospects. And we saw Cutter Gauthier traded for Jamie Drysdale and a second round pick. So maybe this works out. Hopefully it does. Oh yeah, Philadelphia has Jamie Drysdale. Love that for them. I love Jamie Drysdale. I think he's injured a lot, but I really like that for them. So they signed Rutger McGroarty to his ELC. Pick up the other Sebastian Aho, Matt Grzelcyk, Blake Lizotte, Anthony Bolivier. They re-signed Emil Bemstrom. Matt Holloway, Alex Nedeljkovic, they re-signed. They didn't do much. Let's be honest. This is a what the fuck. What are you doing? You've already signed Letang. This is all prior to Kyle Dubas, by the way. You signed Letang, you signed Malkin. You don't have Crosby signed yet. You only have them for this next year. You just commit to the retool, and you can see by these moves, no big moves, you're committing to a retool. So I just commit to the retool already, and just get it over with. I'm so over having to feel like we have to pander to. And not that I want Crosby, either go all in or don't. Washington Capitals are going all in on the Ovechkin. They're going all in. They're bringing in guys. They're trading for them. They're trying Pierre-Luc Dubois. They're signing these guys, and maybe it works. And that retool once Ovechkin's done, it's going to be so bad. But they're trying while he's here, and they're trying to get him that record. They're trying to beat in the Stanley Cup while they can. And until then, they're just kind of going balls out. Right now, Pittsburgh is half in, half out. And I just need you to commit to what is it? What are you doing? Just commit at some point. And it's a bit frustrating. So I don't know. So let me know what your thoughts are, Penguins fans, because I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. If Crosby's frustrated, I'm frustrated. Let's fucking go. Come on. All right. Next up, we have the San Jose Sharks, who are doing a phenomenal job at by the way, if you weren't aware, rebuild. You don't get the first overall draft pick and not being a rebuild unless you're the Rangers in 2020. Fuck the Rangers. I was so pissed, dude. I was a Red Wings fan. The Red Wings are so bad, and then suddenly they do something like that. So anyways, what they do is they did a ton of good stuff. On the ELC side, I do want to say they signed Will Smith to his ELC, who's going to play next year probably. They signed Malcolm Celebrini, Sam Dickinson. They got Yaroslav Halak, signed him. They re-signed Bordalo. They re-signed Thrun. They re-signed Brandon Coe. A lot of young guys. They picked up Carl Grunstrom, a little bit veteran right there. They traded for Ty Delandria. They signed Tyler Toffoli, which I thought was so good. Great veteran, great leader. Going to show these guys how to score. By the way, I just ran, so had to take a break from speaking for so much. $6 million a year for 4 years. Alex Wemberg, good defensive forward at $5 million for two years for $5 million. The huge one was the Askarov trade. They kind of recovered in Nashville. I thought San Jose wins this. They get the better player. I think Nashville is all right, but I think Nashville's focused on winning now. So they're probably going to flipping Edstrom. They're going to probably flip Krona, and they're probably going to flip that first round draft pick because Nashville already has UC Saros. Again, Edstrom has already been traded twice, but I don't know if he'll pan. He might pan out as a bottom 6 guy at first round pick. So Sharks also pick up Cody Ceci in a 3rd round pick for Ty Emerson. Again, Ty Emerson was your 3rd pair guy. He's going to play a 3rd pair position on the Edmonton Oilers. And Cody Ceci gets some little bit leadership, and you get a 3rd round draft pick. Again, you're getting draft picks, which is huge. So Sharks didn't trade up from the Buffalo Sabres. Oh, and then this is where the Wallman one happened as well, where they picked up Wallman and a 2nd round pick for future considerations for the from the Red Wings. And I also liked that they picked up Ty Delandria for a 4th round pick. That's phenomenal pickup. I think Ty Delandria is going to work out to be a good middle pair or a middle 6 guy. Good, probably 3rd line guy for them. 1st round pick too from the Dallas Stars. So one thing I did want to cover real quick is they traded for Igor Afanasiev, and they traded out Ozzy Weisblatt. Ozzy Weisblatt wasn't really working out. He was like a 31st overall pick, 30th overall pick in 2020 for the San Jose Sharks, and they traded him for this Igor guy, and then immediately Igor goes and signs in the KHL, and so San Jose Sharks pretty much traded their 1st round pick that they had for nothing, which I was really bummed about. But it is what it is. So, and again, moving out Thomas Hertl, I thought was huge. He was very injury prone, but one of your better guys. They traded out Thomas Hertl and 2 3rd round picks, and they got back Dave Edstrom and that 1st round pick again. Edstrom in that Askarov trade. So, there's some good moves here. I think that they're doing a great job in the rebuild. I'm very happy with it. They're doing a proper rebuild. Mike Greer's, GM, MG is doing a great job. He's doing a phenomenal job. I'm very, very pleased with him. So, St. Louis Blues. They're kind of in that what the fuck, they're kind of in that WTF. But they are making some smart moves. They're not just middling. They're doing the proper middling right now, right? Where you're the 2nd round pick that they sent over for Broberg is not a high 2nd round pick. It's not a low one though. So you're sending like a middle one out for a guy who is a former 1st round pick. Same with Holloway. You're sending out a 3rd round pick that's not like crazy. Like I said, but you're using your assets properly, or that 2nd, 3rd round pick's not going to be playing for another 3-4 years, and they're in the middle of a retool, so it kind of makes sense. So again, doing the smart move with the offer sheet with the Philip Broberg and the Dylan Holloway. And originally having to trade out a 3rd round pick for a 5th round pick, basically, to Pittsburgh. They also acquired Matthew Joseph, and they also signed his brother, by the way. Picked up Braddock Foxa, traded out Kevin Hayes, traded for Alex Texier. I really like Alex Texier from the Columbus Blue Jackets. They also picked up Malcolm Subban as well. So other ones they did. Picked up Brian Suter, re-signed Buchnevich for a 6-year deal. That's impressive. Juracek, I think he will play. He'll play AHL games. He might even crack into the NHL lineup just because I think that it'd be a good opportunity for him. Let's see. Just they re-signed Scott Perunovich. Overall, like I said, I think that they're doing it. They're doing a good job. They're still. They're kind of in the wild card. What the fuck, right? To me, where they're kind of some of the Islanders, at least, but at least the St. Louis Blues are making moves. And unfortunately, what's going to happen is you end up falling in the. Yeah. I kind of feel better about them. I'm a little higher on them. I think I'm gonna go wild card. I think they're gonna miss. They're gonna try really hard. They're gonna miss though. I have more faith in them. I think it's. I have. Mm, so the Wild and the Blues are kind of the same. Are in a similar position of like quality right now. Is that the St. Louis Blues have a better middle. They're better. They have more talent across the board, but it's not as high. And then Wild have high highs and low lows, but their high highs are like not Kuznetsov. I can't think of his name. Thrill the Krill. Krill the Thrill. I can't think of his name. Anyways, so Minnesota Wild. To me that's going to be, they have a higher ceiling. Again with Brock Faber. Again, I like Jacob Middleton. Kaprizov. There you go. I couldn't think of his name. Goodness gracious. So Kaprizov. But again, I think they're kind of in the wild card spot. I like that spot for them. Seattle. Seattle's in the what the fuck. What are you doing, Seattle? To me, I think you had a good. Was the first year you went out to the second round. You beat the Colorado Avalanche. And then the next year you missed the playoffs. So I'm like, okay, cool. So now they went out and they made some moves. And again, similar into the Kraken are kind of in that, again, St. Louis Blues market. They're making moves, but they're also like, what are you doing? Right. Like, last year they ended up like they traded out Alex Wemberg, and that's pretty much all they did at the trade deadline. This year they send out Brian Dumoulin, right? But again, they did make some big signings. They signed Beniers, locked him in for a $50 million deal at 7 years. They re-signed LA Tolvanen. They signed Josh Mahura, who was on the Florida Panthers. They signed Brandon Montour to that 7-year deal. They signed Chandler Stevenson as well to a 7-year deal. So they are making some moves. I think So if you look at the Pacific, you're going to have the Oilers, LA, Vancouver. And so I think Seattle, they are in that what the fuck, but they did make some moves. So I am going to move back in the wild card. So again, if you're making moves, you're making progress in the free agent offer sheets area. Offer sheets doesn't really happen that often, right? But if you're making those moves, I could see you like you're making progress. You're having the intentions to be good. You're not trying to be bad. You're having intentions to be good. And that's kind of where I think, again, these what the fucks can fall either way. But to me, it's, you can fall either way. But yeah, I think Seattle falls more into a wild card spot. I can see that. I can actually see them making that 4th spot. There's room for them to take it over if Vegas doesn't get their stuff together. Which, I mean, Vegas is, they're kind of in a weird spot. They missed last year, and they didn't take it seriously enough. They were very injured. But we'll get to them in a little bit. So, because we're going to move on now to the Tampa Bay Lightning, who, you won your Stanley Cups, guys. You've done a really great job. You won 2 Stanley Cups in 3 years. Or no, was it 2 years? 3 years? They went to the Stanley Cup finals 3 times in 3 years. They won twice, though. But some of the trades they made, they picked up Jake Gensel, which I thought was huge. They didn't sign Steven Stamkos either, which is wild to me. And to me, I think a GM like Julian Breezewell is able and capable of making hard moves. Again, trades out the 3rd round pick for Jake Gensel, signs him, lets Stamkos walk. I think they try and sign Gensel to a 9-year or $9 million deal. Yeah, $9 million over 7 years. So good for them. They end up trading out. They said, hey, we made a mistake with Tanner Jeannot. We understand that. We traded him out, got rid of him. Now we accepted it, right? They made some really hard moves. Letting Stamkos walk. You can sign Jake Gensel, which basically replaces that production. Pretty much. I think Stamkos scores a little higher, a little more goals. So you trade out Mikhail Sergachev for a 2nd round pick, a 7th, Connor Geeky and JJ Mosier, who are collectively you're moneyballing it. You're making up the parts in the aggregate, basically. Sending out Mikhail Sergachev. He did break his leg last year. That was an issue. And I think Tampa Bay wants to be good now. And so they're like, okay, well, Mikhail Sergachev, your leg was broken. You did come back, but you have to work all summer just to get back to baseline, right? Just to get that strength back to being normal. And I think they weren't willing to take that risk, And of course, last year trading for Ryan McDonough and getting him back, right? Just what a great heartfelt what a great heartfelt move by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Bringing back Derek Pouliot, Emil Lilleberg, again signing Jake Gensel. Let's see. They signed Cam Atkinson to a nice little deal. They re-signed Hedman for 4 years, $8 million a piece. JJ Mosier signed him to a 2-year deal. I mean, they're really trying, and I think I'm torn between playoff contender and wild card, because you're looking at the Atlantic. So I'm just gonna drop in here wild card just to show you guys. So Florida, good. Boston's good. Toronto's going to be up in this area too. So the thing is the person that the Tampa Bay Lightning have to beat out. This is where these categories get iffy. I think they fall in wild card. I think they actually will be a 4th seed. I think they will genuinely be a 4th seed. They're not better than Boston. They're not better than Florida. They're not better than Toronto. I think they'll end up fighting Toronto for that third or 4th spot. So I think wild card feels appropriate. It just feels appropriate. So, and I think Tampa Bay, like they're trying to be better. They recognize that they're not the same team as they used to be. There's a huge shift in leadership, right? Hedman, I imagine, becomes the next captain. He's got to be, right? He's got to be the next captain. So you're just trying to make sense of what the team's identity is at this point. Again, you're trying to make smart moves. You move out cap space. I mean, I'm interested to see what they do and what the moves they make for that and how this all shakes out. Because I think you still have Hagel, you still have Braden Point. It's just, again, I don't think that bringing Stamkos back for the amount of money that he got paid. I mean, you have $4 million for 4 years, $8 million or $9 million. Like, I don't think Tampa was willing to give him that money. And I'm glad that Stamkos is at where he is wanted. I think he honestly will get his number retired. Honestly, I could definitely see that. So, Toronto Maple Leafs trading for letting a couple guys go. They let go of Bertuzzi. And then they you have Wool taking over as full time as well. Trading for Chris Tanev, signing him to a big contract. They also looking at some of these. They picked up Cade Weber and Connor Dewar last at the trade deadline. Re-signed a couple of AHL guys. Let's see, Tanev again, $4.5 million over 6 years, which is crazy. He's already so old. He's already 34. I take him to his year 40. Re-signed Joseph Wool to a 3-year contract, $11 million over 3 years. Oliver Ekman Larson, 4-year deal, $3.5 million apiece. Anthony Stolarz, so smart. This is one of the premier backup goalies that was available on the market. I think that was so smart of Toronto Maple Leafs to get them, because now you're putting the Stolarz and Wool as your 1A 1B. You're not having to rely fully on Wool to be the guy and everything. And then you re-sign Matt Murray for the $875, similar to what they did last year. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to send him down. And if someone tries to claim him, then they got to pay the $100,000 signing bonus. So, and Toronto can afford it. So also re-signed Max Domi for 4 years at $3.75 million. That makes a ton of sense. You get Liljegren back 2 years at $3 million apiece. And he's really got to step up as well. I mean, Toronto, they're in that. They're a playoff contender. They are. I mean, let's be honest. They're probably going to be third seed again. It's probably going to be Florida, Boston, Toronto, and then Wings and Tampa fighting off. Crazy enough, honestly, it's me fighting off. I think Tampa's a little better. I think Wings actually get that 5th seed. Spoiler alert in my next video of who the playoff standings are going to be. This will give you some sort of inkling as well. So this isn't a science at this point. This is an art. So, but I think Toronto, again, they have great players. Matthews, Marner. What do you do with Marner? Do you re-sign Tavares? He's got 1 year left. Marner's got 1 year left. I mean, the drama behind it. I mean, if you listen to the Steve Dangle podcast, there's enough drama behind it. But to me, it's going to take. It's a really interesting year. You got Matthews as the new captain. There could be it's a huge year for them. I think there can be a lot of good turnover next year. And we'll see. I actually think they re-sign both Tavares and Marner, but I don't know. Is it the right move though? That's the question. So, Moving on to the Utah Hockey Club. Newly acquired as well, Utah Hockey Club, formerly of the Arizona Coyotes. I got picking up Sergachev, huge. I mean, it was a lot of assets. You know, JJ Moser, Connor Geeky, second round pick and 7th round pick. I mean, it's a ton of cap space as well. Taking on $8.5 million of Mikhail Sergachev's contract. I think he's still got like 2 years left on his contract. Oh, no, he's in his. Holy smokes, he's still got 7 years left. That's crazy. I mean, that's good for Utah. They got a guy that's locked up and like solid for their blue line for a long time. Also acquired John Marino for a for 2 second-round picks. They sent out a 5th round pick. Moved up with Colorado's pick. Nice, good for them. Colorado pick. And then of course they had previously changed it. They previously sold at the deadline. Robert Bertuzzo they signed. Oh, TJ Ginla, what a great pickup on them. Barrett Hayton they extend. No one really of Ian Cole, I guess. It's fine. Stenlin, Jersey, they also so they basically keeping their core. To me, they are in that what the fuck, because they're in the Pacific Division where who are you going to beat out? You're going to beat out the Oilers? No. Are you going to beat out LA? No. Seattle, Vancouver, Utah, you're just kind of, you're middling. You're making some good moves. I don't think this is the year, but I think they could probably be in a wild card next year. They can push for a wild card next year. But to me, that's just not their year. They're just not ready for. They're just not. They have the good players. They just have to just continue to develop them. I think, and I honestly wait till they make Keller captain. I'm so excited for that. I think he is an underrated player. Keller is very impressive, and I think he's a very well loved small guy, like we were talking about before. Small hockey player that guys just love him there, and I think we're going to see how everything pans out. Again, you're also changing. All these guys everyone on the team is getting new homes. Everyone on the teams is playing in a new arena. Everyone's new area, new city. No one knows anything about this city yet, and that's okay. It's just going to take some time to acclimate. So we'll see what happens with that. So moving on to the Vancouver Canucks, though. Vancouver Canucks finally move off of Vasily Podkolzin, sending him to Edmonton Oilers for a 4th round pick. And they also moved last year. Also, they moved off of Ilya Mikheyev. Of course, they picked up Lindholm last year, as well as Zadorov, but did not end up re-signing them. I think Zadorov played well. I think Lindholm just didn't click with the team at this point, and that's why they moved on from him, which is okay because they have a lot of good pieces around him already. Re-signed Arthur Seelovs. They signed Daniel Sprong. Jake DeBrusk. DeBrusk is he's taking over that winger position as opposed to, like I said, Lindholm playing in that center position, which is probably better that they needed a winger anyways. So you have DeBrusk for $5.5 million, which is a steal for 7 years. Really love that for him. Dayton Heinen was a smart one. Vincent Desharnais was smart, getting a little tougher. Let's see. I mean, those are the big ones. They signed Tyler Myers. Oh my God. To an extent, to another contract. $3 million over 3 years. Jeez. I think the Sprong is a good one. Pick up a little bit of depth scoring that Ilya Mikheyev wasn't able to do. But I mean, they're phenomenal. I think I don't know if they're Stanley Cup contenders. I think because you have the Oilers there. I mean, they're definitely a playoff. They're for sure a playoff contender. Just not Stanley Cup yet. I think that they're very good. I think they're starting to get their feet wet, and I'm excited to see what they do next. I just don't think they're fully there yet. But again, I like some of the moves. Again, I'm a big fan of Pettersson. I love the Swedes, dude. Big fan of the Swedes. Quinn Hughes, of course, is a rock star. Big fan of him. I mean, how can't you love the Hughes brothers? Honestly, they're just so adorable. And honestly, when you have brothers like that, they're just great. And honestly, he cracks me up because he's the emo one, which is hilarious to me. All right, now moving on to Vegas. Vegas making some interesting moves as well. Sending out, making a couple trades. They picked up Alexander Holtz, former 1st round pick. Didn't work out with the Devils, which again, I think he needed to change the scenery anyways. It's okay. Akira Schmid, underrated. Gonna be your second, third. I mean, it'll be your second goalie, I guess. Who else does Vegas have? Because they did trade out Logan Thompson for two third-round picks to the Washington Capitals. Currently, by the way, they have a negative cap space. Who are they going to put on LTIR? I'm really curious on that. That is very interesting. What are you guys going to do, guys? They have Robin Leonard. That's why. That's fine. They have Aiden Hill. Oh, they signed Ilya Samsonov. Okay, that makes more sense. So they have Ilya Samsonov and Aiden Hill playing your tandem. Samsonov's going to be your backup. Aiden Hill will be your starter again. And then you have Schmid, who can develop in the AHL, who did play NHL games with the Devils. I don't think he played them last year, but he played them the year before. I thought it was okay. Picked up Tomas Hertl. Again, there's a late edition. So at the trade deadline, he was hurt at the time. Again, Vegas missed playoffs because everyone was hurt, dude. So but it cost them their 2023 first round pick prospect and their 2025 first round actual pick, which is crazy. They also picked up Noah Hanifin. They extended him to a deal. I mean, it's very interesting, man. It's very interesting. And then the signings, we have nothing crazy. Samsonov, Sakas and Reese. Noah Hanifin was a huge one, 8-year deal, $7.7 million, over through $7 million. That was huge. But yeah, I think it's interesting. So I don't think they fall in the wild card, but it's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to be tough for them to break out. So I'm really curious on that. So let me know what your thoughts are, Vegas fans, because I think they've been good for so long. It's hard to see them not be good because they missed the playoffs last year. But it's only the second time. I think it's their second time ever in their franchise, and they've won a Stanley Cup. So they went from like winning a Stanley Cup to being out of the playoffs. So that's pretty tough. So, so we'll see. But anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. And moving on now to the Washington Capitals. So a couple of things that they did, extended Rasmus Sandin. But remember last year, they made the playoffs right at the end, but they did sell last year. They moved off of, looking at these, Lars Eller. I mean, they acquired Rasmus. I was that year after. Never mind. They traded Anthony Mantha. They got a second and a fourth round pick for that. They traded Joel Edmondson. They moved Evgeny Kuznetsov. And again, after the season ended, traded for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Moving out Darcy Kemper. And actually now they're taking on more years and more dollars as well. But Pierre Dubois is hopefully going to be their new second line center, which would be huge because they moved off Kuznetsov. So hopefully he gets an opportunity there to just thrive. And mind you, this is Pierre Dubois is the fourth team, and he signed this massive contract with LA. It was an 8-year contract. He now has 7 years left with the Washington Capitals. And the reason he got traded to the Washington Capitals is because his no movement clause clicked in like 3 days later before the trade. So I think it's a good move for Pierre-Luc Dubois. I'm questionable on whether it's going to work, but either way, I like what the Capitals are doing. Ovechkin is in the playoffs. Let's get Ovechkin in the playoffs. Let's get him the goals. Let's surround with the best guys, and we'll deal with the rebuild later. And I love that energy because you have a guy that's first ballot Hall of Famer and Ovechkin looking to break Gretzky's record. Let's get him the tools to break that. Speaking of their tool, they traded for and they picked up Andrew Mangiapane, good pick. They moved out Beck Malenstein, picked up Logan Thompson. So now they have two right-handed catching goalies. I had to think about it. I was like, what did I used to do? And then also picking up Jacob Chychrun, who wasn't working out in Ottawa, and just moving out Nick Jensen, a little bit older veteran leadership, which is what Ottawa was looking for, some veteran leadership, and a third-round pick. A couple other signings they did for free agency. They picked up Taylor Radish, Brandon Duhaime, re-signed Connor McMichael, and the big signing that he picked up from LA was Matt Roy. It depends if you're French enough. 6 years at $5.75 million. That's a big contract. It's a huge contract, and most of the rest of things is like extensions, entry-level contracts. But overall, they did a lot of good trades. Again, they don't have a ton of assets. They're trying to acquire assets and keep assets, while also trying to just make some of these trades where you can trade out like a second or third round picks. And so it worked out really well. I like the position. I like what the Capitals are doing. And based on what I think they're going to do, I think they're in that wild card spot. I mean, they made it last year, right? So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 people fighting right now currently for a playoff spot. That's kind of it, right? You have 16 teams that make it, and you have a couple that fight for the wild card spot. So I'm glad this is working out really well. And Islanders honestly might move into that wild card spot. We'll see. The Minnesota Wild or the New York Rangers could do that. Hopefully. And we'll see. Maybe the Senators. I have no idea. So, but I think again, I like what Capitals are doing, and I think everyone should. I think this is you're going all out and what you think you should do for your organization. You're like, I don't give a fuck what you think. We believe in Ovechkin and we want him to win, and so we're going to, right? And I love that energy. So moving on to the last team, we have the Winnipeg Jets. So they made some moves last year. Of course, they picked up Tyler Toffoli, they picked up Sean Monahan. I mean, they moved us some big picks for those. Second and third and a fourth for Tyler Toffoli, first round pick for Monahan. So they were really going all in last year. It just did not work out for them. But moving on, they did. I mean, they picked up Dylan Coughlin. They had the Rucker. Oh yeah, so they did have the issue with the Rucker McGroarty trade. They couldn't guarantee an NHL spot for Rucker. They said that you can try, you can probably end up in the AHL. And Rucker's like, listen, I'm good enough to be in the NHL. Get me in there now, which is why he requested the trade. And now that's why they got Braden Yeager instead. And Rucker McGroarty said he would not sign with the Winnipeg Jets. And he's like, dude, like try the jersey on first. And he's like, nah, I'm good. Like I put it on. I'm super good. So, but what the Winnipeg Jets did is they extended Dylan DeMello. They picked up Eric Comrie. I mean, again, you just need a backup guy. I mean, we know Hellebuck is going to be playing the majority of the games, especially when it comes to the playoffs. You have Capo Kakinen, so those guys are going to be fighting for that backup spot. They picked up Colin Miller, Anderson Dolan. Again, that's an LA guy. They saw hit plenty of him in the same conference. Hayden Fleury, Mason Shaw, Logan Stanley. They extended. Ville Hiola. They signed Braden Yeager to his ELC. Again, they didn't do much. I mean, they have some good pieces, but they're kind of in that middle. They feels like they're in that wild card spot because you were good, but you weren't that good. I mean, you didn't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or Western Conference Finals. I mean, that was Dallas and the Oilers. So I think Minnesota has some good parts, but you signed Scheifele, you signed Hellebuck. Come on, what else are you guys gonna do? I mean, like you need to get good now while your guys are good now, right? So, I mean, they're all gonna get older. So again, but I don't mind this list. This is a good list. I'm pretty happy with this. Let me know what your thoughts are. This went way longer than I thought I was going to. Again, we're not doing the Coyotes because I could not remove the image. But let me know what your thoughts are and what this ranking looks like and everything. And hit like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Appreciate it. I love you guys. Put your favorite emoji down there. And thank you to BetterHelp and DraftKings for sponsoring this, as well as the Hockey Podcast Network for supporting it. Appreciate it. Love you guys. Catch you next time.